Welcome to ExoFutures Knowledge Nugget. Short, practical thought leadership for busy leaders. I am Liesel van Rooyen. In the first Knowledge Nugget, Fabrice Testa explored the shift from 10% improvement to 10x leadership. In the second Knowledge Nugget, we take the conversation closer to home. We look at why leaders need to keep learning, adapting, and reinventing themselves before success turns into a plateau. This is Knowledge Nugget 2. Jump the S curve before you plateau. Over to Fabrice.
Hi, I'm Fabrice Testa. I'm an entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and much of my work has focused on helping founders and leaders think bigger, act with discipline, and build ventures that create meaningful impact. I'm pleased to share this short ExoFutures Knowledge Nugget with you. In the first Knowledge Nugget, we explored the shift from 10% improvement to 10x leadership, the move from simply optimizing what exists to asking bigger questions about what could become possible. In this second Knowledge Nugget, we bring that question closer to home, because before an organization can think exponentially, its leaders must be willing to keep learning, adapting, and reinventing themselves. Today, we are looking at the S-curve and why leaders must learn to jump the curve before they plateau. The plateau is dangerous because it can feel like success when you are still respected, still competent, and still delivering results. It is easy to believe that you are still on the right curve. But in a world shaped by artificial intelligence, exponential technologies, new competitors, changing business models, and shifting customer behavior, yesterday's mastery can quietly become tomorrow's limitation. So the question is not only, am I successful? The deeper leadership question is, am I still learning fast enough for the world I now need to lead? That is why this conversation matters. Before organizations can become exponential, leaders must be willing to reinvent themselves. Whitney Johnson's S-curve gives us a useful lens for understanding personal reinvention. Every leadership curve has a beginning. At the beginning, learning is slow. You may feel uncertain. You are building new language, new skill, new confidence, and new perspective. Then the curve begins to accelerate. You recognize patterns. You make faster decisions. You create results. Eventually, you reach mastery. This is the stage where people trust your judgment. Your expertise is valued. Your work may even feel easier, but every curve also has a plateau. Growth slows, the work becomes familiar, the learning reduces. And because you are still good at what you do, the plateau can be difficult to recognize. This is especially difficult for senior leaders. The higher you rise, the more your current curve becomes part of your identity. You are rewarded for knowing. You are expected to have answers. You are invited into rooms because of your experience. That experience matters. Mastery is valuable, but it can also create a trap. The old curve can start to feel safer than the next one. We may start protecting the assumptions that made us successful. We may rely on what has worked before. We may dismiss new technologies, new models, or new ways of thinking before we fully understand them. That is when mastery begins to turn into stagnation. Not because the leader has failed, but because the world has moved and the leader has stopped learning at the same speed. Reinvention is not a sign that the past failed. It is often the discipline that protects the future. This is where humility becomes a serious leadership capability. Humility is not weakness. Humility is the ability to say, I have learned a lot, but I must learn again. It is the willingness to listen again, question your assumptions again, test new ideas again, and admit that what worked before may not be enough for what comes next. Your past success is a foundation, but your next curve is the direction. In an exponential age, change does not wait until we feel ready. Technologies compound, markets move, customers change, new players enter from outside the industry. Leaders who stay attached to the comfort of the old curve may eventually discover that the market has already jumped to a new one. In my own career, I have had to reinvent myself across very different industry, from the space industry to the cinema industry and back into the broadband space industry. Each shift required learning again. Each shift required consistency. And sometimes it required the courage to change direction when the path no longer made sense, or when conviction in the leadership or direction of a project was no longer there. That is not always comfortable. Starting a new curve can feel like losing status because you move from mastery back into learning, but that is also where new possibility lives. The leaders who keep growing are not the ones who pretend to know everything. They are the ones who remain curious enough and humble enough to begin again. Arrogance rarely pays off. True leaders remain humble enough to keep learning. This has a direct impact on organizations. Before an organization can become exponential, its leaders must be willing to renew their own thinking. One of the reasons transformation stalls is that leaders can unconsciously become the immune system. They defend the model that made the organization successful. They protect the processes, habits, structures, and assumptions that feel safe. They ask people to innovate, but only within the limits of the old curve. The immune system does not fight enemies. It fights what it does not recognize. So when leaders are not willing to learn again, the organization may become very good at defending what may no longer work. This is why leadership reinvention is not a personal development luxury. It is a strategic requirement. If leaders stop learning, the organization often stops imagining. So here is the reflection I want to leave with you. Think about your own leadership curve. Where are you on the S curve today? Are you still learning? Are you growing? Are you at mastery? Or are there signs that mastery may already be becoming a plateau? Then ask yourself, what feels too comfortable right now? What expertise is still valued, but no longer stretching me? What am I protecting because it made me successful in the past? And most importantly, what is the next curve I need to start before I am forced to change? It may be AI fluency, it may be business model innovation, it may be platform thinking, it may be learning how to lead through ecosystems, experimentation, or new forms of organizational design. Do not choose 10 things. Choose one next curve. Then choose one 30-day learning action that will move you from intention into motion. To help you do this, we created a personal reinvention S-curve map. It is a short practical worksheet to help you map your current curve, identify signs of plateau, name your next curve, and choose one practical 30-day learning action. Download the map and use it as a private reflection tool or as a leadership conversation starter with your team. Then join us for the free Becoming an Exponential Organization webinar on 9 July 2026. In that session, we will explore how exponential thinking, leadership mindset, and organizational transformation connect. And if this raises deeper strategic questions for your executive team, the Exponential Enterprise on 22 September 2026 is designed as a deeper executive decision environment. Your next curve does not start with a perfect plan. Have it starts with one deliberate step forward.
Thank you for listening to this ExoFutures Knowledge Nugget. In this session, Fabrice Testa explored why leaders need to jump the S-curve before they plateau, and why reinvention is not a sign that the past failed, but a discipline for staying relevant in the future. Take a moment to download the Personal Reinvention S-curve map and reflect on your own leadership curve, where you are growing, where you may be plateauing, and what next curve you need to start. And remember to register for the free Becoming an Exponential Organization webinar, where we will continue the conversation about exponential thinking, leadership mindset, and organizational transformation. In the next Knowledge Nugget, Fabrice will explore crazy ideas need disciplined action. Why bold ideas only matter when discipline turns them into action. Thank you for joining us.